Hello, good evening, good evening, good evening. If you are here for building your circle of 10, phase 2 circle leader training, then you are in the right place and I welcome you all. It is such a pleasure to share this evening with you. This training is designed for folks who are circle leaders, are interested in being circle leaders, and want to figure out how to create your circle of 10. You are specifically interested in understanding who you should be talking to and how to cultivate community with these folks. So, if you are here, then you are in, if that is what you think you are here for, then you are in the absolute right place. And let's go ahead and get to it. So, first, I will remind you that our journey as Circle Leader has 6 stages in it, and we will be going through the first 3 stages this summer. So, first is recruit. Our recruit segment phase is open and available at any time. We encourage you to share your experiences as Circle Leader, to get your friends and other people in your network to join so that they can build their own circles. And we will be right here every step of the way to make sure that you are good and ready to go. Today's training is that phase 2 training where we actually go through and talk about how to build the circle, how to invite people to participate. Yes, if you look at this, and by the way, if you look at this QR code that is right above my head here, you can scan that at any time and it will put you in our resource section, which will then allow you to have all of the things that you see today, plus a nice worksheet that you can follow through on. And I want to announce soon, coming soon, we will be hosting office hours for you to get one-on-one, or should I say, you'll be able to join us for a Zoom call to be able to get your direct questions answered. We will also answer questions here tonight. So let me know you're out there, post it in the chat. If you have a question, we will absolutely get to it. We want to make sure that you are well equipped and well supported to do this work. The next training is phase 3, and that is really about how do we have these real conversations. We say it all the time and we mean it. This is not about shame or blame. This is truly about how we engage people, how we do the work. And it really starts with something, a very simple concept, and that is listening. In phase 4, we want to be able to have discussions about what is on our ballot, particularly as we head into Election Day in November. We will provide you tools for you to be able to access your sample ballot and hopefully use those conversations that we'll teach you about in phase 3 to actually assess what is going on and how to make a voting plan. And then phase 5 in November, we want to turn out. We want to see record numbers. Now, in some of our early primaries, we've seen those numbers go up. But sadly, today in New York, we are noticing that numbers are down again. And so we just really need to change the tune on that, turn the page, and make sure that every single person is getting out to vote, and particularly focused on those people that are in our network. And then, what's a good movement without a celebration? And so expect that after the election, we're going to have time to debrief. But most importantly, we're constantly going to be giving you an opportunity to acknowledge, to share, and most importantly, to celebrate, because we do this in joy. I learned from some young voters earlier today. I was in a conversation with them, and they said, what gets us out to vote? Is it being fun? Is having food and it being free? So I'm going to take a note out of that. And so let's think about how we can celebrate, include a little food, make it free for folks to be a part of it, and most importantly, have a lot of fun doing it. All right. And our next, moving on right along, we're going to get right to it by answering the critical question. Who's in our circle? Who should we even be talking to? How do we find these people? How do we know whether they're registered or not registered? And how do I make sure that I got the right people? Well, let me just tell you, the right people are the people who answer your calls. The right people are friends, our families, our neighbors, our former classmates, the people who trust you, the people who answer your call, the people who sit at your table. Whether you are gathering in a living room or a group chat, the goal is the same. So let's talk about who can be in our circles. Let's start with this: any gender, any background. We are trying to register everybody, and we are emphasizing black voters. So if they identify as a black voter, in any way, shape, or form, any gender, any background, no matter where they live, whether they are your neighbor or whether they live across the country, if they are black, then they are in. This is really about making sure that our community, wherever our community happens to reside, feels like they are part of something bigger because they are, feels like they are part of something powerful because they are. This is about diversity of experience, and bringing people together so they can have honest conversation. Now, it is important that people in your circle are 18 and up, thus our priority. Now, some of you will want to also include younger members, and I think that's cool. Let's create an intergenerational conversation. But I want us to be focused and a little bit disciplined here, because part of the reason that we're doing this is that we want to see change happen this year. We have an opportunity this year to make a huge difference. And we don't want to squander that by not engaging people who are eligible to vote. Now, we exclude no one. We are probably one of the most inclusive programs on the planet. So everyone is invited, but I do encourage you to be really disciplined about bringing in folks that are voting eligible age. Now, here's a little thing you may not know. For some jurisdictions, there are some jurisdictions across America that do allow 16 and 17-year-olds to vote in local elections, not federal elections. So they can vote for some offices, but not every office. And we encourage them to get engaged and get involved whenever they are eligible to vote. For most people, and definitely in federal elections, you must be 18 years or older. We want you to over index on unregistered voters. Now, this isn't just about, say, are you registered? Are you registered? Have you registered to vote? That is not the real question. The real question is, how can we engage you? How can we have a conversation with you? And how, as part of that conversation, can we talk about how voting is empowering? Can we talk about how voting helps us to get the things that we want, and how we can include you as not just part of a conversation, but part of a community? And that same thing goes for folks who may be infrequently voting, meaning they vote every now and again. We're really looking for folks to be habitual and frequent voters all the time. And so infrequent voters should also be folks that we consider. Okay, we know the who. We now need the where. Where do we find these people? Where do we go? Where are they? So let's start with your inner circle. Think about friends, family, and longtime neighbors. Think about past election behaviors in particular. Think about people who may have said to you at the end of 2024, "Damn, I meant to vote, but I missed it." Or maybe they said, "I don't. This voting thing just doesn't do anything for me. I don't really think it makes a difference. I don't understand the point. You're voting. You can just go ahead and represent me. I go with whatever you decide. I don't know enough about what's on the ballot to make a smart choice." All of these are probably excuses that you have heard before. And anybody who gave you that excuse, they need to be in your circle. Beyond your family and close friends and longtime neighbors, think about former classmates or coworkers. Think about people that maybe you haven't talked to recently, who may not necessarily be engaged in community, that may show up in isolation. Consider a warm text or a voice note. Think about being personal as opposed to a group blast, and really say, "Hey, I've been thinking about you, and we're starting this conversation group to talk about things that concern us, I would love to have your voice as part of our conversation group. Again, it's not just about voting, it's really about building community. So the first thing you do is you invite them to the conversation. Um, we can also look at the friends of friends and family. Listen, if you invite one, ask them to bring a friend with them. You know, if you invite two, ask each of them to bring a friend with them. This doesn't have to be all on you. Let's make it a team sport from the beginning. Let's challenge ourselves and heck and say to ourselves, who would make for an interesting conversation? Maybe you have a few people who are interested in asking questions, a few people who maybe bring a little bit experience, and together we figure it out. That is how you build community. So when we think about those friends of friends, we're talking cousins, we're talking sibling friends, we're talking your aunt's neighbor or someone who really you can have a warm introduction to, but they then share an interest with you about how we stay in community. Think about community spaces. This could be your church, your club, your sorority, your fraternity, your book club, your neighborhood association. So these are people who you may know. You probably have their phone number somewhere, and but you may not be especially close. Think about an introduction. Think about asking folks who've already said yes to being a part of the conversation to introduce you to other people. We are constantly recruiting and we can't get enough. And so always think about how you bring people in together. Here's a pro tip. Think about inviting a friend along someone else that they already know. So not just asking your friend to join you, but ask your friend to bring somebody who may fit the criteria and ask them to show up together. This is how we do community. This is how we do community. All right, now that we have identified folks, let's talk about the ways we invite them in. Now, here is the very most important thing. We're not inviting them just to one on one. We are really trying to invite people to a conversation. So, what may start out as one on one is really designed to be a larger kind of group. So, think about having a pull up where people drop by. Again, going back to what we learned from our students earlier today, and that is make it fun, make it fun, make it fun. Think about some food and think about having no cost. And most importantly, think about when you're thinking about the fun in particular, I want to challenge you to think about the way that people are already socializing. Don't make it up, fall in line with what people are doing. This also has a virtual face. So we can talk about digital drop ins where folks just hang out together, which could be a Zoom or even just a FaceTime hang. It doesn't have to be all night. Let's check in for about 30 minutes. Let's talk about the things that impacted us that day and what are some things that we could do about it. More importantly, not what we can do as individuals, but what can we do together? When all else fails, think about how you're bringing people in simply by sharing information of a voice note. Remember to be warm and open and friendly. Maybe for a few folks, you may have to have a coffee to get more interest, to understand more of their interests, but never miss an opportunity to invite them to a group activity because ultimately that is what it's all about. All right, now we're going to build our circle. How do we make real community happen? Well, real community happens when, first of all, we create a shared group space. Perhaps for you, it will be a text, it will be a WhatsApp, it will be a group me. And as soon as people say yes, they want to be part of the conversation, tag them in, put them in right away. Um, Think about how you hold your first activity of stuff you can do together. Is it a virtual conversation? Is it a meetup in person as a coffee house? Be excited and get people involved immediately. Don't just have them in the group and you don't say anything to them. People get bored and will move on. So you got to make sure you're keeping it moving. As you are moving people into the group, that's when it's time to start thinking about when our meetings are. Never miss an opportunity to celebrate. Listen, Like most people, I love a party, and I really love a party where I get to celebrate good things. And listen, you don't have to wait for a big thing to happen. It's okay to celebrate everyday life. We're going to celebrate that we had out of 10 people show up. That is amazing. We're going to celebrate that each of those people is making a commitment to improve things in their community. Yes, we need more, but we're going to celebrate the ones that are here. Think about what are some things, the roles that people may hold, specific responsibilities. Maybe they need a break sometime. So think about specific people to be recruited for the purpose of volunteering, and think about how you are moving people to celebrate just showing up and just being a part. Again, this is as much about the joy as it is about the registration. It doesn't have to always just be you. Once your circle gets started, consider rotating the roles. Make different people in charge of different conversations. Make the conversations a game. We have another training that we do, our house party training, that is a built in game associated with it. Make it fun. That is the key. You want to make sure that you give everyone a voice. This is another key important part. You want to make sure that this isn't just your thing, this is our thing. So you don't want to just listen to people and run them over. You want to listen to people and thoughtfully consider what's said and give them the opportunity to do the same. Finally, we want to make sure that you all stay connected, and that's why it's important to share a group text or figure out a signal or come up with an atom to know kind of what's going on and when you want to show up. It is so important that people actually get a chance to be together, even when they're not together. And so this is where the apps can help, and this is where other group texts and things like that kick in. And so never forget that as an opportunity. All right, here we go. Rounding the bases into part 4. Once we get our circle together and we are now having our first conversations and we're talking to each other and all the things are happening, we have to keep it going. So consider, is there an activity that you can do every month that kind of bounds you together? You know, every month, the last Monday of the month, I'm going to play golf, or every Tuesday of every single Tuesday, I'm going to go and get my hair done. These are all commitments on your time. So think about that as you think about how you pull these group conversations together. You could do rotation and have different people host a dinner or a game night, or a place where you all gather, a coffee shop, a beauty salon. Maybe your circle of 10 is everybody who has their hair appointment at the same salon between 10 and 10:30. I bet you that could be a lot of fun, and you can literally be glamorous as you go. Think about weekly touch points, which could be a note, an update via the app, or even a handwritten note if you really wanted to get fancy. Finally, think about what can we do that is a bigger thing with other circle leaders. So this could be part of When with Black Women Rising, if you're work organizing with them, to be part of a state coalition meeting. It could be a group of you all who are organizing close together, decide to join up to do a bigger event. But think about the opportunity to introduce the people around your network with other good resources that you may know. This may even be individuals who you really want to understand the mechanics of voting and want to make sure that they have access to be able to ask that as we go. All right. And then finally, here, we want to take advantage of civic moments. This can be direct action, this can be rallies. Hell, this can even be watching the news or doing a watch party as an election day activity. Because some of you all still have primary votes coming up. We're wrapping up primary votes here in Maryland today, as an example. And then finally, we want to be accessible to all. So we encourage you to meet up in person where you can. but consider how you are accountable to people with disabilities. We may, looks like we may be doing a small, we need to take advantage of those things and show up, not just about the vote, which of course is important and we can vote together. But this helps to also help us understand that there are lots of people working on issues every day that we care about. And so it gives us an opportunity to find out more about those folks' work. But if we're honest, it also gives us an opportunity to find out what the staff may be interested in, what the people may be interested in. Okay, let's move on. All right, we are wrapping up, and this is amazing. I want to remind you that this training will be available via a video and on demand, and you can use that same link that you used to join us to access it. So let's talk about all the things that we know you're going to do. First things up, you're going to reach out to people you already love and trust. Listen, some people have expressed concern about their safety, and we get it. You don't want to talk to strangers. You're not comfortable knocking on doors. It's not for everybody, and that's okay. This program is specifically asking you to go to your phone book, look and see who's in your contacts, and think about who you already love and trust. They will need a personal outreach. So, as part of that personal outreach, make sure that they feel like it's personal and specific. Again, we're not interested in guilt and shame. What we really want to see is inclusion. What we really want to see is community. And it may take a very specific and intentional, personable, warm, and friendly ask for you to encourage them to be a part of your circle. Ask people to bring folks that they know. You don't have to ask people one at a time. Ask one person and ask them to bring two. Introduce members to each other. Have a conversation about what they share and have in common, or what we hope to learn from each other. Think about using icebreakers the first time you get together, just to do exactly that, to break the ice. Create a group space where members can talk and really visit with each other, and not let it just be all about you talking. In other words, don't do these trainings because we want to make sure you get everybody's voice in. But think about places you can go where everybody feels comfortable, where the seating is comfortable, where they're not dehydrated, they're not hungry, they don't have some of those kinds of common distractions, and everybody's able to bring their best self to it. We want to wrap up with making sure that you offer both in-person and virtual paths. And when in doubt, go to 1millionblackvotersrising.org/register and double check their registration. This is a great thing to do at the end of an in-person event, or a an in-person event or virtual event. This is an opportunity for you to make sure that everybody in your group is registered to vote. And of course, did I mention the celebrations? Because that is critical. Here's some things we want you to try to avoid. And I know some of these things feel so intuitive, but they may not be helpful to register the folks that we already know are informed. We want you to don't lead with voter registration as your very first conversation. Lead with what people care about. Don't send a mass text as your initial invite. Make it warm and personable. Don't recruit total strangers with no warm connection. We want this to feel inviting. We want this to feel approachable and friendly. And if you know, and these people are all part of your network, then you're in a great position to help them create community. We have a question in the chat. What if your group is pretty much informed about political issues and the voting process? How do you keep them engaged? Well, one way to keep them engaged is to ask them to bring one or two people that they know that's not engaged. Let everybody get in. Make it a group project. Maybe you have 5 people who come and feel like they are informed, and you invite 5 other people who are not, and you have real conversations. Here's the point. is not to make people feel stupid or uneducated. It's not to bring that guilt or shame, and we don't want to do that, which is why you don't want it to feel like a one-on-one conversation. You really want it to feel like a group community conversation. Prep questions in advance, or think about discussion prompts that get people's ideas flowing. We're not asking you to know all the answers. We're just asking you to have the conversation and engage people around what they think, what they believe, and if there's some opportunities to showcase how working together, eliminating isolation, and let's be honest, voting can be part of the solution, then that's an opportunity to share that and help them see exactly why it's important. It's important for you to be consistent. Don't go silent in between meetings. Think about things that you can send them. We will have lots of social media things, graphics, fun pics, as well as fun trivia points that you can be sharing in between the times that you meet. And then finally, don't drop people just because they seem disengaged. Stay present, stay patient, and be gracious. Many times people just wait to be dropped because they know that they may not feel like they're part of the community. We've got to be better than that. We've got to show up and include people, even though they may initially show up as disengaged. All right, we are wrapping up, and it is such a great thing that all of you were able to join tonight. I am so appreciative. But I want you to remind you that you are not trying to convince people by arguing with them. We are in the business of building trust through consistent relationship. This happens in our living rooms, on voice calls, and in chat rooms. Our strategy is community. That is our strategy. I'm sorry, the circle is our strategy and community is our method. And so it is so important that we are focused on bringing people together. And again, you may have a mixed group. You may have groups that come from different ideas and backgrounds. If you are interested in learning more about what some of those conversations should look like, this training was really about how to find the people, how to identify the people, make sure you have people. And I say if you have at least 50 people in your contacts, then you probably have 5 to 10 people in that contacts who need some support voting. You just may not know it. So think about some of the archetypes that we mentioned and asking them. Don't worry about them saying yes or no, and don't worry about asking them if they're registered to vote. First focus on building community. That is the main idea. The voting will come. We can verify their registration at any time. What we can't always do is build community. What doesn't always happen is that we try to engage them in a way that calls them in as opposed to out. What are your next steps? Well, we have clearly outlined them here. Step number 1, let's find your 10 people. Step number 2, let's reach out to them and ask them to be a part of our conversation, a part of our community. Think about how you're going to communicate with them in between time. Are you going to chat? Are you going to set up some type of group space? Are you going to share a Facebook group, or maybe meet up somewhere on LinkedIn? But be clear about how you communicate in between the times that you meet up. Start somewhere. So plan your first initial gathering, especially if you're doing it in person. But yes, virtual is cool too. The biggest thing is don't just do it one-on-one. Be sure to engage a group of people, because a group gives you an immediate sense of community, and that is what we want. Make sure before the end of voting, you don't have to do this in the first meeting, or even the second, but at some point, verify that everybody who's participating you is in fact registered to vote. That is critical. That is one of the main reasons that we are doing this, and we certainly don't want to do it when folks are. We certainly don't want to do it and not engage folks. All right. And then finally, if you're working within a state, check with us. We may be able to connect you with other circle leaders from that state. And then you all can maybe get those circle leads together. Circle circle leads can get together and bring their respective circles together. Oh my goodness, that was such a tongue twister. But that is something that you can do, and we encourage you to do that. You don't have to wait on somebody to plan a thing. You can plan a thing. You all have been good at that. Many of you are doing that anyway, so why stop now? Let's make sure we are getting it together. Okay, and let's close this out. We have, I think, one more slide. Nope, that is our last slide. So we are complete. Super amazing and right at the 30-minute mark. I don't know if we have any additional questions, but what I will share with you is that we do have other trainings coming up. The very next one coming up will be the very next training coming up will be our phase 3 training, which will get into the kinds how to have these conversations. We encourage you to be a part of that one too. As always, these trainings are recorded. The slides as well as resources are available to you. You can get the resources right now. Scan that QR code right above my head, and you can also visit 1millionblackvotersrising.org. We were updating, visit that site frequently. Oh my goodness, I had to sneeze. Excuse me. We are updating that regularly, and we will be putting new tools, tricks. If downloading video isn't your thing, know that these trainings are also available at Sisters Lead, Sisters Vote YouTube, where every time we go live, where we have a live training, we are recording it and posting it to our YouTube channel. So replays are available, live trainings coming up, and just know that we are always here for you. Should you have any questions, feel free to hit us up again at 1millionblackvotersrising.org. I promise you someone will get back to you, and we will make sure that you have every single thing that you need to make this happen. In the meantime, follow me, Holly Holiday, at Sisters Lead, Sisters Vote, or you can also follow 1 Million Black Voters Rising at the Black Women's Leadership Collective on all platforms. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me for just a brief minute. I'll leave the chat open for just a little bit in case we have any questions. But do know that I appreciate you. We are so happy that you were able to join us. Again, this has been Building Your Circle of 10, a circle leader training. We want to make sure that you have everything you need to engage voters. I appreciate you all for joining me this evening and encourage you to go to 1millionblackvotersrising.org and see if we can help you in any other way. Until we meet again, have a great evening.